everyone makes mistakes. Like,
we've all been arrested.
Yeah.
Except for Jock. Jock needs to live a little.
This was recorded at the Media Joint.
That is so rogue.
Boy, that's a bit rogue.
Is it even that rogue?
I know we've all put our bodies through a lot over the years, so it'd probably be good to see what's actually going on in there. But most health checks miss the big stuff. Everlab doesn't. Everlab is something completely new, a longevity program doing head-to-toe testing and personalised health strategy. They test for what actually matters, like hormone balance and early signs of disease. You'll know exactly what's going on in your body and exactly what changes to make. Get onto it at everlab.com.au.
Welcome back to another episode of A Bit Rogue. Today in the studio, I have our Australian celeb reporter, Justin Hill. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm feeling blessed that a Hayu participant is in the room. Like, I'm a Hayu girly. Like, original E. Mum used to have E playing all day.
Yeah.
Like, get home from school and Housewives were on. So, like,
who's not though? I feel like if you work in this industry, you are part housewife.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, I actually, like, OG Kardashian watcher, OG Housewives watcher, and that was because of my mother. Mm-hmm. I'm a new fan of yours. Oh. So I recently discovered you in your Wicked interviews.
Yes.
Very cool. So you interview a lot of celebrities, movie stars, etc., etc. How did you get into that?
This is the thing that, like, when I talk to a lot of people, they're like, oh, how long have you been doing this for? And I'm like, I'm coming up to my 20th year of working in media.
20?
Yeah.
You are kidding.
No. So I knew I always wanted to do that. And I was like, I just have to move the parts around to figure out how to get that job.
Yes.
And I've been doing red carpets for about 14 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So I've always done red carpets. I've always done celebrity interviews. And then I have a podcast about, you know, all of those interviews. And so, yeah, I got the call up to go and interview Ariana and Cynthia. And funny story, I knew going into it that I potentially had a little bit of like goss on a question because they were flying to come to Australia. While they were in the air, a screenshot appeared online of the end credits of someone who had been to see Wicked, which is very naughty because you're not meant to post anything because the movie hadn't come out.
Yeah.
And it had Ariana Grande Butera. And I knew that was like her government name.
Yeah.
I was like, how come she's using that? And all the fans were like, whoa, is this real? So then I waited for the airport interviews to come out. No one asked her when she arrived in Sydney. And then I was like, I went along to the junket. Everyone was very excited to be there, but you hold your cards very close to you when you're doing something like that. No one was talking about it. And then I asked her, left the interview, and it went up that night. And I was the first person to ask her about using her full name. And
was she pissed?
No. Oh my God.
Cool.
She was loving it. She gave me this great answer about how the reason she did it was because it was a nod to the little girl that watched Wicked for the first time.
Oh,
that's who she was.
Yeah.
And then she shared it, and then Cynthia shared it, and John M. Chu, and it just went everywhere, all over the world. And then I got absolutely rammed online for my blonde wig that I was wearing, and I was like, that's what you're picking on me about? I was like,
no, that's fine though. We love the viral moments. We up our rates. I was like,
don't zoom in too close on my hairline because I literally stuck that thing to my forehead myself. So
I was about to say you can tell, but that's rude. So I'm not going to say that.
I don't know. Look, if that's all people were worried about, I was in a pink suit with bubbles on my shoulder.
How did you feel? Were you nervous?
Not really, because
because red carpet's probably a lot more adrenaline and stuff, right?
So
you can just like
when you do a red carpet, you get like one question.
Yeah.
So even though you only get like 4 minutes in a sit down interview these days, that's still more than I get on a red carpet. Like I've looked down at my microphone before and it's been like 43 seconds on the red carpet. So you're used to being like, you know, you kind of have to like build rapport with them as you're walking towards them in the interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So then by the time you sit down, they're like, oh, it's all good. You're not going to ask me anything horrible. So
yeah. I could never, like, I talk too much to do red carpet. Like I'd want to sit and stay and be like, wait, can I come in? Let me in.
I've got another question.
Yeah. So you are also the host of Loud and Proud, which is Hey You,
Yeah.
pretty slay.
I
What's that
know.
like?
We did that during World Pride.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was 2023 though.
Yeah, and it was like the first ever local Hey You production.
Okay.
And I'm very proud that it was before, because now they're doing Real Housewives of London is like the first Hey You production out, like, big show that they're doing. But
Yeah.
we were like the number one in the world. And yeah, it was just really good. I was just like, when I pitched it to them, I was like, there's so many people in the queer community that are not just, typical people that you see like me. Like, we had Samantha Jade, who's a wonderful ally, and then, et cetera, who's a non-binary drag queen. Like, I was like, we have this opportunity to sit down and like meet all these people. So we just did that and talked about how fab everything is, and then it went all across the world, and yeah, it was super, super fun.
I actually really want to talk about allies. So
Sure.
Obvi, I'm an ally. Always have been.
Ally.
Well, my family, I'm the only one in the family, like the first that got baptized as Presbyterian because my grandfather was like, this is the only church at current, like when I was born, that allowed for gay pastors. So they were like, she needs to be baptized in the Presbyterian church, because like my grandfather was an ally as well,
Great.
So as an ally, I've always kind of been like, I need to respect the community, and like, it's not my community. I can just like cheer from the outside. But obviously Whitney Rose from Salt Lake City, and you're saying Samantha Jade, like maybe I can insert myself a little bit more.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? I always say to people, if you are an ally or you want to be an ally, you are already included in the community, and you're also included in the acronym. It's LGBTQIA+, and the A stands for asexual and ally. So you have a letter in our...
I'm in there.
You're in there, babe.
What the hell? I didn't know that.
So, and it's like, if you are even thinking about being an ally, then you are one, because it means that, our community is entering your mind, and you're conscious of like how you speak. Or, I did a thing the other day. I did a panel with Alex Greenwich, who's a wonderful gay politician, and he made such a good point. He was like, it all comes down to how you speak about people when they leave the room.
Yes.
And he was like, that's true allyship. And I completely agree with that. It's like, you can't just be performative about it and say, oh yeah, I'm an ally when, when Pride is around. It's like, you have to actually want to learn about it, or even just like have the need to be concerned about queer people, or understand what you say and how that impacts them, and what other people say and how that impacts them as well.
To be honest, like as an adult, I've never been to Pride, like the march, just because I'm like, I need to allow the people to have their evenings. But like my family growing up, they're like, you need to go and support, like,
Yeah.
I don't
love
know
that
why
they
my
were the
family,
ones pushing you.
like I am being like so dead. No one in my like immediate family is gay or bi or yet.
That you know of.
I mean, I just birthed the next gen. We never know.
Yeah.
But for my family to be so like wanting to be inclusive of the
Yeah.
community, it was very interesting. But as an adult, I never went, because I was like, we only go to Pride once a year. So like,
It's a year-round job.
it's a year-round job.
Yeah. But also too, you are most welcome. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
Like, you don't have to wait for an invite. Or
Yeah.
also too, if you just want to come once a year, that's also totally fine. Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of fun. Like World Pride, we were talking about this the other day. It was like next level. To go to a party and have Nicole Scherzinger perform like the OG Pussycat Doll was just wild. Like, in previous years, we've had like Sam Smith, we've had RuPaul, we've had Cher, Kylie Minogue, like you name it, they come out and party.
Yeah.
And I think the best part is that we provide a safe space. So if you were to come out and party with us, then we would take care of you.
Yeah.
And we take care of each other.
I have a little bit of a trauma story, actually.
Tell.
One night on Oxford Street, it was one of my girlfriend's birthdays, and we were at a club, and we went next door to, just a gay bar, like, and I was pretty wasted at the time, and I was like looking at my feet, like I wasn't gazing at anyone, and this chick comes up to me and she's like, you fucking looking at my girlfriend? And I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I was so scared. And I was like, I ain't never going back there again.
It's just because you're so beautiful. That's why. She
Oh,
would have probably
Smash,
been
love
like,
that.
She would have been like, I'm just testing to see if you're
Yeah, no, I was
if
like,
you're for the
ladies,
girlies or not.
we've got to go.
You're like, we're outta here.
Go. But yeah, okay, that's good. I always wondered about being an ally, like what makes you an ally, and it's just okay.
100%. And I love that do you know where that comes from? That like the allyship in your family?
I just think they want to include everyone.
Yeah, that's
you know,
so
like
nice.
you just like, I don't know, even growing up, like birthday parties, mum's like, you have to invite the whole class. You know, because now I'm
inclusive.
I'm at the
Yeah.
point where I'm like, I'm asking Banks, he's only 3, he can't even remember who's in his class. I'm like, do I invite the whole class or do I like just say like, so who you want to hang out with at your birthday party? You
God.
know, but yeah, very like inclusive. Like everyone's including everyone in the family's allowed to come. It doesn't matter if you're a junkie. Doesn't matter if you don't like getting vaccinations. Like everyone's allowed to be at the table.
Yeah,
you know.
I love that.
I don't know, just like a little inclusive
It's nice.
thing.
It's a good
Super
feeling.
random.
Feels like a hug from your family.
Yeah. Well, now I want to go into Housewives because obviously you are, I would say you get a crown for being housewife.
Thanks.
What would you call it? Housewiver-ish?
Yeah?
Yeah, we can call it
My
housewiver-ish.
housewivery?
Yeah, housewivery.
Yeah.
The first thing is, as someone that's watched Housewives from the get-go, like grew up with it, I was like low-key offended when they did Australian versions. Like I was like, what? Like I just felt like if something's good, don't fix it. Yeah. And so when they did Melbourne, I was like, I understand the theory. My mum loved it, but I was kind of like, I just don't think I can start it. And then when they did Sydney, I was like, what the fuck?
Well,
What
here's
do
the
you
thing
reckon?
though. It's like, do you remember how nasty Sydney was?
Well, I heard that because someone came on the show whose mum actually broke up a dinner party fight.
Oh my God.
That was not filmed
Oh,
because it was
whoa.
like for PR for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too, is like, it's so funny because like everyone criticized Sydney a couple of seasons ago for being really nasty, like women calling each other the C word and stuff like that. But the thing is now those sound bites, which is what reality TV is just like all these sound bites edited together.
Yeah.
They're now popping up on TikTok. So but it's kind of like at the time it may have been too nasty, but then like things progress and then, you know, the environment changes. And even with Melbourne, like, you know, I see clips of like, oh my God, there's one of Venus, who was a housewife on Melbourne, and she's trying to relate to one of the women saying that she was being bullied. And the soundbite that pops up on TikTok all the time is she's like, I know what you mean. She's like, when I was in high school, she's like, some kids stole my lunchbox and they shit in it. And everyone's like,
I've not heard this sound.
It's hilarious. Like, and everyone's like, how is that relatable?
My only memory of Melbourne is like Gina
Liano,
Gamble,
Yeah.
and Chica.
Yeah. They're all hilarious.
Yeah.
But I think too, it's probably time that we had like an ultimate girls trip down under.
Yes.
Like maybe some of the best ones from all of those, like from
Yes.
Melbourne and Sydney that we love, and then some internationals.
Yeah,
and then
I think that's a great
somewhere.
concept. Just because, like, I think, just because in Australia we have a lot of tall poppy syndrome, so I think it shines through on reality here,
Yeah.
and I think it actually stops it from being successful because
Yeah.
the tall poppy, like, no one can get past the like
Totally.
community vibe. Anyway,
Can I give you some tea on hanging out with the housewives? Though?
yes,
So last year I went to the Hayu Fan Fest, which is kind of like BravoCon
yeah.
in Miami. And so I got to be
Is this a
with
paid job, by the way? Like, did you get paid to go to this?
I will not disclose that.
Oh, well, like, I want to go, but I don't need to get paid, but I don't want to undercut
You just
everyone.
want to go for funsies.
Yeah.
And hanging out with the housewives. And I had already hosted an event with Whitney and Heather.
Okay.
So I knew them quite well, and we were
they've
going.
come to Australia a couple
yeah,
times,
and they're
right?
just
Yeah.
so lovely. And even being with them at that event, what I quickly realised is that the best housewives are businesswomen.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they are doing.
Yeah.
When you see them at these events, they are like running empires. They are like selling something, they're selling themselves. They know that everything they say is a platform to like promote a business. And so for them, they look at it and they go, well, this part of my job of being on a reality show is just one section of
Yes.
all of these things that I'm doing. And
Yeah.
so you got to have respect for them when you see them work like that. Some of them don't. Some of them are just like, oh, I'm rich and I'm just hanging out and
Yeah.
this is just fun. But the ones
Jennifer
that...
Aiden.
Well, yeah, well... the ones that are like really successful are like the fingers in all the pies.
Yes,
they're
I
really
agree.
working hard.
No, I agree. I actually think that applies to a lot of people in media in general, not
for sure.
just, you know, because like, you know, I'm not trying to jump, but like same with Vanderpump. Like you go to Lala, she was only doing the show because she was like, okay, well, I've got a book, I've got a makeup, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I
Gotta
need the
provide for
show
my
to
kids.
keep staying relevant.
Yeah, totally.
Love that. I love a bit of tea. Well, I wanted to ask some housewife stuff. Like this morning, actually, Teresa, sorry, not this morning, the other day, Teresa was on Kyle and Jackie O's show promoting the tour. And she asked, like, oh, can you guys see me? So I've noticed a lot of her interviews, she does it on an iPad. Yeah. And she like, she puts her finger across. Anyway, that's not the point.
She's such a mum.
It reminded me.
Can you imagine? She'd be like,
literally.
taking photos with her iPad.
Well, she did like an American interview on like a US news show, not like a morning show or anything, but the interviewer asked her about her like criminal charges or something, and she was like, "Gots to go," and like was trying to hang up. What are your thoughts around interviewers, like other reporters asking someone like Teresa of her like, what do you call it, incrimination?
Yeah,
like
her
from so
criminal
long
past,
ago.
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I would say broadly, being someone who interviews celebrities, is that people who go into interviews to ask something nasty or to get a reaction out of someone are not the best people to be doing the job.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that I pride myself on not doing that, but I know a lot of people that do that, and they think that that's how they, because the thing is, everyone is looking for the next trending headline.
Yes.
They want to be the next viral video.
They're like, that's an old headline, you know?
It truly is. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to bait her to say something or to comment about something that she's never discussed before, or in a way like that they could be like, oh, she said this and this, you know, people will click on it. And
But like I was in primary school when she went to jail.
yeah, but also too, like everyone makes mistakes. Like
We've all been arrested.
Yeah.
Except for Jock. Jock needs to live a little.
Jock's a good boy. And so I think that people that go into those situations to be controversial like that, then they're likely never going to be asked to do it again.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's the thing. You've got to nurture these relationships. Like if you ever got the opportunity to interview Teresa again, she'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
like,
why would she?
Yeah.
But she also really struggled to hang up the call on her iPad.
And she's like, where's the button?
No, seriously. She's like, no, I'm not doing this. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And then you hear this like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this because you're like on tour with her at the moment, but can I ask questions about her husband? Like what your thoughts are?
I mean,
he scares me.
In what way?
Well, I was going to ask, like, do you think that he's a genuine person? Like, I feel like he's there for the money. And, like, you know?
One thing that I've learned about being around these celebrities is they are not like us. They don't live in the same world that we do.
No.
And you have to think about how long, I mean, look at Gia. Gia literally grew up on reality TV and is now in
Next Gen, baby.
Next Gen, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that she has always been around. And I think too, when they came into the show, their relationship was obviously quite different. And then we saw it progress. And I just think that like, when you're living in that world and you have a lot of people doing things for you and you understand that people really want to hear about your relationship and that's how you make money, it just changes how people behave. But like, it's truly not like, I mean, some of them are regular, some of them go home and like have to, you know, clean up their dog's poo and stuff, but like a lot of them don't. They're just living
She
in
made
a really...
a comment on Kyle and Jackie O being like, oh, I wish my family wasn't involved because obviously Joe and Louis have beef. Like, I feel like Joe and Melissa can kind of see what I see and like a little bit, like I do see narcissistic tendencies on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't
But
know
that's
if
the
that's...
edit that we're seeing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
so I'm
thing.
like, I don't know.
Imagine if someone like filmed you like this all day, every day,
Yeah.
and then they only took the bits that you said, you know,
Yeah.
when you're trying to just live your life and be who you are.
Oh,
that's
some
what,
people,
you know.
including Jock, have said to me...
Easy edit.
Yeah, he kept going, you're an easy edit, you're an easy edit. Don't ever go on reality, you're an easy edit. I'm
you're gonna
like,
be
okay,
trouble.
relax. And then my management said it too. I'm like, can everyone stop harassing me?
No, that's the best
So
bit though,
rude.
because that's what they look for in reality
Yeah.
TV. They want someone who's like a walking soundbite
Yeah.
who just says
But
shit
then
off
there
the
was
cuff.
these articles that came out being like, he's drained her money already or some shit. Like,
But again, this is the things that people do.
I need you to, like, if someone says something about me like that, I'd want to address it though. Like, I need you to address it.
Could you imagine how difficult it would be? It would be like walking into a room and having everyone say stuff about you that is not true, like part truths, and you not being able to say anything.
Yeah.
Because the thing is we know is that as soon as like some poor housewife like gets into the discussions of stuff, it's just the end, because it's like you open up the door for conversation then.
Yeah.
You know, like, but also too, like, let's talk about Jen Shah.
Yeah.
Like, I am very
Do you
keen.
like Jen Shah?
No.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm just checking.
But like, love Whitney. But do you know who I have also like started to love? Mary Cosby.
No, I have no shame in loving
She's
Mary Cosby. No,
hilarious.
she's really come out of her shell. At first, I was like, okay, poor lady, she's severely on the spectrum and doesn't know how to socialize with other women, and like says really out of pocket things. But I actually think it was like maybe because she's married her step grandpa kind of vibe.
Again,
maybe
not real life. Who does that?
Unsure if like that's storyline or like that's just how like their Mormon church works. But I feel like she maybe socially was a bit inept, like didn't have the same social skills as the other women. And as time has gone on, she's actually formed a friendship group and like a support group. And now her her true personality is coming out.
I think she just realized she was being filmed.
Oh.
I think for the first like 3 seasons that she was on, but when she was behaving like that, I don't think she really understood the concept of reality TV, and that like, and this is the thing, when you hang around housewives in particular, they do say very out of pocket stuff, because you kind of go, like, where did that come from? But it's because they're used to being like, I'll say this because it might make the edit and it will then help my story.
But she was so mean to Whitney initially. Remember, she'd be like,
Bubblehead.
little girl, sit down, little girl. So Jen Shah, with her incrimination, her being away.
She'll be out very soon.
Really? Do you reckon they will
keep
let her
reducing
back on the
sentence.
show?
I don't know. I don't know if
I
she would
wouldn't.
wanna
I
go
don't want
back
to
on.
see her back on the show.
No, I don't want to either. I feel like where it is at the moment is quite good. I even like with the, you know, the receipts proof timeline. I just think that if you've seen that episode, if anyone hasn't seen it, it is like the ultimate reality TV show, like handbook. That's how, like, they built that up the whole season, and then then that part just came out of nowhere. It's just such great reality TV.
But saying receipts, proof, timeline, fucking screenshots. Like, I felt like she was ready in her head to say
yes,
that.
Totally.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, as a housewife, they know that like they have to say these things.
What about when they were in a circle when this happened and Meredith is like, yeah, do you reckon that's like very scripted kind of vibe? Like they already
but I think that becomes normal for them, because they go, we're so used to being filmed and we're so used to like having to say these things that will either make the edit or won't make the edit. That's eventually how they behave, and then you meet them in real life. Some of them but are the character, and some of them that's just who they are. So you see them and you're like, whoa, you are like no different to who you see on screen. But then you see others who are like, oh, you understand that you are playing a character in a TV show.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Bill and Jen? So my opinion on Jen is like, I feel like she was like this very good housewife and maybe was like bullied growing up, because now she's got this platform and money. She's kind of bitchy, but like with low emotional intelligence, I feel. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you love her or?
It's so hard because like, I feel like whenever I'm watching the show, I don't know if I truly know who she is. I wonder how much we're seeing of her that is, again, the character versus who she really is. Because sometimes when you look at that stuff and you do question people's emotional intelligence, it's like, do you go through your normal life like that?
But it's like getting super smashed on when you know you're being filmed is a bit random.
And well, this is the thing too, is that like a lot of people, and it just came up in the Real Housewives of Miami, there was a huge fight between Julia and Giudice, and Julia accused Giudice of self-producing, and that's not something that will often make the cut.
What the fuck is self-producing?
So when you have talent on a reality show...
I was like, is it like a different type of masturbating?
No.
Like self-producing? I don't know.
I love how you do give that a masturbate. Like,
what am I going to say? Okay, like she was like just using her whole palm on her clit. I don't know.
She's having a Maz.
Yeah,
no.
a Maz.
So when you have like reality TV stars who are saying shit like on purpose, or they are not allowing the conversation to be natural, or they are producing the segment.
Okay, so how do they manage that?
So this is the thing. So Julia called Giudice out and said, "You are being a producer over there." And
See, I don't watch New York.
No,
is
this
New
was
York?
Miami.
Oh, Miami, sorry.
So and that's the thing too, is like it's a big no-no in reality TV.
What does
like,
Andy have to say about this?
Well, I mean, he would just love it because it's controversial TV.
Yeah.
It gives him something to talk about in the reunion.
Yeah.
But some of the housewives do that, and they need to stop doing it because they need to allow that's what the producers are there for. But also too, they're trying to steer the story in their direction, and that's the thing with Jen, is that like you do have to question, is she producing herself, or is it in the edit, or what are we seeing? Like, are we seeing...
I'm sorry, but getting like the calls from the FBI at the freaking Sprinter van and leaving, like you can't tell me that wasn't staged, like being like, oh my God, I just got to the Sprinter van, I have to leave. Oh my God, 2 minutes later, the FBI is here.
But the thing is, my eyes were fucking glued to that screen. I was like...
Same.
They just called her? And I was like trying to listen to like the phone conversation. It was wild.
But like, I also don't feel as though Lisa Barlow has different solicitors on, like,
oh my
like, why are you
God.
calling
And the
5 different
cybersecurity lawyer?
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually really disappointed because I feel like throughout the whole of the Salt Lake franchise, I've watched it since Ep 1 aired, right? I have gone through a phase where I've loved and hated each one, except for Whitney. I've always loved Whitney, right? But this season, or last season, I was getting really frustrated by Lisa like using the whole like wanting to use an investigator. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to take her house. Like that is coming from like a really malicious, dark place. And like you think you're better than everyone.
And I agree with you. There's like moments, like I'm the same. I'm like, oh, I really love this person. Like I feel like Heather, for me, I've just always loved her, and like, so that's consistent. But
mine wasn't consistent with Heather. I recently felt like she was becoming a little bit of a bully and a little bit overbearing. Just a little bit.
Why do you think?
I think she's gotten like her autonomy back, like from her like past like divorce. Like it's clear that she's still a bit traumatized from it.
She's also had a major glow up, so she's probably got this newfound confidence.
Like my head would be bloody massive if I was her.
She cried when I saw her when she came for that Hayu event, because I just said to her, as like being a former overweight person myself, I was like, I got to tell you, like, your journey and how honest and open you've been about, you know, taking Ozempic and having surgery and stuff like that. I was like, it's really refreshing. And I said, and it's like you have just come into who you are. And I can see that, like, not only do you physically look great, which everyone says, but I was like, there's just something different about you.
There's an aura.
And she started to cry.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She's like, no, it's just, she's like, you get it. She's like, you know, and I think we'd also had a couple of wines, so that probably didn't help either. But like, it just, it was
well,
like,
it makes me feel bad for not like loving her as much. But like, I do think that is a contributor to her being a little bit more nasty than she like normally had been.
Or coming across that way. Like, because that's the thing too, is like, if you stand up for yourself, sometimes it can come across as being nasty.
100%. No, I back anyone that's going to stand up for themselves, but I can't even think of any examples off the top of my head. But it's just like if someone is having beef with someone else and she'll be at the other end of the table and be like, bah, 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 and I'm like, Heather,
I feel like sometimes
I love you, stop.
we see them absolutely explode too, and it makes me wonder, like, how long have you been sitting at that table having this conversation? What was edited out that we missed? Because people, it's like Teresa with the table flip. Like,
I think that
I
her
feel like
family
we missed a whole section of that conversation.
That, but also like I think generationally her family are very explosive, and I think they all need intensive therapy. But all the girls seem pretty. I mean, some of the girls. I'd say one of her daughters is probably explosive, but I reckon Gia is pretty like calm, cool, and collective. But on Next Gen, like I've seen her getting like a little bit angry, but
she's not scared to call people out. Like with that whole situation with Brooks and the and she was like speaking on behalf of him. I was like, oh, this is where your mum's side comes out in you, because you're like not scared.
I actually love that they went to dinner with the mums.
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
good. It's a great crossover.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
how
cool.
Vanderpump started, you know, like, so Vanderpump did this
with
crossover
Sheena
episode. With
being a little
with
sluzzy.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And then it like rolled into Vanderpump Rules.
Oh my God, what is it? Not Camille's husband. Who did she boof? Sheena
was
slept with someone.
Eddie Cibrian, wasn't it?
Yeah, but whose husband was that?
Oh God, whose husband
She's blonde. Not Camille.
No, it wasn't Camille. Was it Brandy?
Yeah, Brandy's husband. And then And it's like Sheena like asks her, she's like, "How have you been?" And she's like, "I've been terrible since you slept with my husband." And then Stacy's standing there going, "I feel really uncomfortable right now." And it's like, dude, that is so awkward. And that is not scripted. Like
that's great reality TV.
Actually, I'm going to jump to Beverly Hills now. I'm not even going to touch on, oh my God, I have a mental blank. Erica Jane, sorry. Like, I just like, I'm like, everyone's already covered it. Like, oh, whatever.
Oh, the whole like.
Go to jail, boo. Like, you know, not Erica.
Not Erica. Oh,
but
no.
like Tom Girardi. Bye, boo. Like, you did the wrong thing. I don't give a fuck how old you are.
Again, my love for Mary Cosby and then now my love for Erica Jane. I feel like she has had an absolute come to Jesus moment where she was like,
I never really liked her.
jail.
Like when I was about, I reckon 17, I sent her a message on Instagram being like, "You're a bully." I have to unsend it. No, I have to unsend it.
Babe, she
like, how embarrassing. No, she's probably already seen it, but she won't remember.
You're like, it never happened.
Never happened.
Like, what message are you talking about?
Yeah, she's not going to come on the show if she knows that I've DM'd her when I was 17. How embarrassing. 2014
No,
me.
you were standing up for the little people.
Yeah, she was being a bit ratchet. Anyway, I wanted to ask Kyle and Mauricio's, Kyle and Mo's divorce thoughts.
Okay, so here's the thing about Mo is that I've met him before.
Ooh.
And
was he smooth? Like, yeah.
There's something about that man. So it was at an event with Hayu and Kyle was there and she's just fabulous. Like
she's a weapon.
She is so beautiful in real life and a very articulate woman. Like, and I could listen to her talk for ages. Hilariously, one of the things that we talked about was she was asked what perfume she wears. And this is a few years ago, right? And it was Baccarat Rouge. And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to tell people." She's like, "Because then everyone wears it." And I was like, what a weird thing to have happen to you. Then, and I'd never heard of Baccarat Rouge then.
Yeah.
And then now, I've got it. Everyone I know's got it. Like, there are copies of it everywhere. Like, it did happen.
Yeah.
But Mauricio was there. And he walked past me. And he wasn't on camera. He wasn't doing the Q&A. But as he walked past me, he like put his hands on my shoulders. Okay. And I was just like this. I was like looking up at him like, he just exudes some kind of energy.
So you get a little wet in your knickers?
Yeah. Like, and you get the impression from him that he is very comfortable flirting with you no matter what your gender is, probably to get to where he wants to go.
Yeah, 100%. He's in real estate.
Yeah, but not in a smarmy kind of way because he is quite tall and good looking and he doesn't come across as sleazy.
No.
He just is very kind of like, I don't know, he's just one of those people that I imagine there's a million of them in Hollywood where he's just very magnetic.
Yes.
And here's an interesting thing for you. When I did my interview with Kyle at that time, which is before they announced that they broke up, she actually said to me that it was their anniversary and he forgot it. Yeah. And then shortly after they split up and I was like, looking back on it now, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
whoops. Like that's, yeah. So I don't know. I
was
feel
really
like,
sad when they announced their divorce. Like I was genuinely upset.
They were super happy when they were here, like great couple.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I feel like what we're seeing now is the result of something that's been coming for a long time. I feel like they didn't just wake up one day and be like,
no,
I'm a lesbian.
But like, can you imagine him like working in real estate in totally different cities, like barely home?
100%.
Like
traveling all the time.
But also the paparazzi definitely was told to take shots of him kissing.
And that girl?
Yeah.
Well, apparently there's a rumor that she was behind that.
I believe that.
I believe that too.
But like, how hurtful would that be for Carl? It's just
horrible.
Like, because like I can resonate with it because it's kind of like, it makes you feel like you're aligned with that kind of like trash almost. Like it's just
setting
like,
up pap shots. Absolutely. And it's something that someone like Kyle is very particular about avoiding.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, I was an actress and like, you know, my family's grown up in Hollywood, as if she would want to be aligned with something like that.
Yeah.
It is tacky and gross.
Yeah.
It's not Baccarat Rouge behaviour.
No, it's not. Well, on to next gen. I'm glad that you mentioned that because my current favourite is it Ariana or Ariana?
Bierman?
Yeah.
Is it Brielle on the show?
No, Brielle is the older sister.
Oh.
It's Ariane or Ariana. Either way, Kim's daughter. She's my favourite. Like, hair's amazing, makeup's amazing.
Yeah, love the tats.
Everything about her is super slay. Who's your favourite been? Have you been watching?
Yeah.
You love
who's
Brooks?
my favourite? I mean,
Is this Meredith's son?
yeah, yes and no. I don't know if I even have a favourite. I like watching the show, but I'm not sure if I like it because of the characters or because of the fact that it's a reality show in New York. Like, I loved Real Housewives of New York, the new one. I think I was the only person in the world that
The new
actually
one?
did. Yeah.
The new cast?
The new one. Like, I quite enjoyed it. I think, but I think it's because I love New York. I've been there like 7 times. And so I like to see people living these fabulous lives.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've landed on a favourite yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like Brooks, but I don't know.
But it's also like he's not an OG from New York, you know?
No.
I kind of get Gia because New York and New Jersey are so close
like
together.
next to each other. She's like, she has
Like, she's literally
essentially
at
grown
home.
up there. Like,
Yeah.
it's like across the bridge.
Yeah, but yeah, flying them in. I mean, Ariana, like her and her partner, you know, rent a place because they want to be in New York. But it was so interesting hearing the storyline of like Kim taking money from her. What are your thoughts on that?
When I saw that come out, I was like, I wonder, like my brain immediately goes to how much of this was pre-planned and how much of this was she didn't tell
Because she
her
would have
mum.
had to tell her mum that she was going to
It's
discuss
pretty bad.
that. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I believe it.
Yeah, imagine if you were going to like leak some family secrets and you just didn't tell
I
anyone.
mean, Kim probably doesn't mind. She's always posting those weird stories. You know how when like housewives are new or like people, like who's that chick that just went back to Jersey Shore? Either way, she was like late to the OG party, but they start posting these stories that's like clickbait.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking so lame.
Yeah, it's wild.
So lame.
But a lot of them do that for money too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Who did you say you like?
I like
Kim's-
Ariana.
You like, yeah.
I don't really like the Georgia girl, which is disappointing because she's the OG from New York. But like the whole storyline of like, I don't wash my hands because I grew up in the.
That's weird. And that's also,
West Side
in
or
my
whatever.
experience, not a New Yorker thing. New Yorkers are like, don't touch anything that touches the sidewalk.
Like, I'm sorry. How do you get your shriveled up pieces of toilet paper out of your fanny? You just leave them there? That's why you don't need to wash your hands.
Does she have nails? She's like picking those things out.
But wash your nails, doll.
Yuck.
No
Nah,
one wants your
immediately I
fanny
was like,
juices everywhere.
eek. I was like, no way.
Yeah, but the fact that it kept like building on it, I was like, we've got to stop talking about this girl and not washing her hands.
Once when I was in New York on the subway, my finger got caught in the rotating thing and it cut it a little bit. And I was like panicking because I was like, the filthy, dirty subway.
Yes, your blood
I like had
touched
to
it.
go like to the chemist and it was fine. But I was
Yeah.
like, is this going to get infected? Like, I feel like that's how people behave in New York.
Yeah.
They don't do the I don't wash my hands thing.
Yeah, I think she was just like rolling with it because she was drunk.
Imagine that question. They were like, what is the most interesting thing about you? And she goes, it's that I don't wash my hands.
Yeah.
I'd be like, really? Okay.
I have a bit of a controversial one I wanted to talk about
Sure.
because like I feel like I can resonate with it because I've been through DV.
Mm.
But I'm starting to get a bit frustrated that some of the franchises, not just like I'd say OG Bravo ones, but now leaking into Hayu, like with the Valley, they're posting a lot of like disclaimers on mental health, like if you need help, blah 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 blah. But they're showing lots of different forms of domestic violence and not kind of like addressing it. Like Jax, you know, saying like, oh, you know, I got a bit angry and threw the table at Whitney, and just like the coercive control, the financial control, so many different types of abuse, and they only cover Jax's mental health. So we're gonna like, I just don't think domestic violence is something that the franchises should be trying to leverage from, because I even see it in the way Jesse speaks to his ex-wife Michelle. Like I see huge traits of narcissism. And I think it was like maybe Vanderpump, I can't remember what show it was, but I was like, god damn, like another one from the same production. They're portraying like DV and they're not addressing it. It's like normalizing it.
Yeah, you know what's scary is occasionally I'll go back and watch the pilot episodes in the first seasons of a lot of reality shows, and there are so many things in those older reality shows like Australia's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
I was just happened to be watching some of it recently, and I'm just like, how did this make it to our screens? Like the stuff that was said, you know, I was watching some OG episodes of New Jersey the other day, and there was some homophobic comments, like, you know, so I think it's an attempt to acknowledge it, because are you saying you would prefer they just didn't acknowledge it at all?
But they don't acknowledge it though. They put it, like, they have this storyline. Yeah, but it's not like the warnings or anything, but I think it's like normalizing that kind of behavior in relationships, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's 2025. If a man is physically hurting you or a man is controlling you and sending you abusive text messages, that's not a toxic relationship. That is abuse. And that person should be arrested for, you know, assault, harassment, stalking, like that. Those are literal crimes that he is committing on screen. And they're just like, oh, that's Jax's mental health is not very good, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just,
because also too, it begs the question of like, at what point do you step in? Because the thing is with reality TV is like, we're meant to be there as observers of their natural, normal life. Like, you know, it's like when you watch maths, like we're meant to be fly on the wall and you see everything roll out. And I think it's interesting that like when people had the cheating scandals and the reasoning behind it is like, oh, well, this happens in real life. And it's like, yes, it does. And then you look at reality TV and you see like text messages or throwing a table or something like that. At what point do they step in and say, this is unacceptable, you're no longer on the show, this has been flagged? I mean, the problem is that we don't know when they do that because it never makes it to the screen.
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of hard to say, like, yeah, like how do you document that in a way that you are highlighting it because it happens in people's lives, but then also handling it because essentially, like, you know, the production company would be the employer of the person. So it's like, do you, like, how do you not break the fourth wall by...
Yeah, well, they did break the fourth wall in the Valley recently. Brittany is sitting in her house talking to someone, like I think Jax's sister or something, on the phone, and then the producer comes over and goes, oh, Brittany, Jax has just said that he can hear you or something like that, and she's just covered all the cameras and that he was on his way or something like that. And it's like, if you, like, you're then prompting it for, like, you know, more storyline, but it's like, it should have been, hey, Brittany, I've just received a text from Jax. This has happened. I think we should document it or call the police.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, I think someone who is probably doing it better, not amazingly, but better, is the Kardashians.
Yes.
Because they moved from E to Disney.
Yeah.
And they made a very conscious effort to say that this is no longer, what cameras? What are you talking about? They are acknowledging the cameras and looking at them and saying, like, this is a documentary series, really.
Yes.
It's not a reality show anymore. And I quite like that.
I love
quite
that
like them
style.
acknowledging us and being like, you know, there was an episode where Chris was like, yeah, Kendall couldn't make it because she's got COVID. And then it cut to Kendall and she's like, I didn't have COVID.
Yeah,
She's like, I just couldn't be bothered going.
So
I'm like, give
entertaining.
us more of that. So I feel like the Kardashians are definitely toeing the water when it comes to a more real, like, breaking the fourth wall. And I definitely think that reality TV in general can take a leaf out of that book, because it's like, us as viewers, don't be scared to break the fourth wall. We're happy to hear a conversation like that, like, hey, this has just come through, we feel like this is important to document. And then the viewer then goes, oh wow, okay, right, what's going to happen, with the context of they acknowledged it and they know it's not good, and then we're just going to see what happens here. So I think that it's just super slow. That's the problem.
Yeah, I just, like, it feels like very slow in time. Like one of the first seasons of Beverly Hills, that woman, she was married to that really abusive man who ended up killing himself. Like that.
And a lot of people use that meme, and they also, the one where she's like screaming, and it's like, so it was Taylor. She's screaming and the cat's doing the same thing, and that's a meme that goes around all the time. People don't realize that that's actually from that horrible situation. Yeah,
but only OGs know. But it's not that I understand because it was like back then, but I do understand because it was back then. But I'm talking about now. It's 2025. Like, why are we letting these narcissistic people portray abuse and normalize abuse? I'm not into it.
We should do like a roundtable session and give all the reality TV production houses some advice.
Yes. And I'd love to just sit in a room with Andy Cohen. There's just like something about him.
Lovely. He came for the premiere of my show on Hayu. And
really?
Yeah. So one of the things he said to me was, we were just like chit-chatting backstage before the premiere, and he was like, I didn't realize that people knew who I was here.
Shut
and I was
up.
like, are you joking? I was like, you are like the godfather of like reality TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course we know who you are.
Yeah.
We have televisions down here. But he was just pumped that people knew who he was and that we liked Housewives, and like he was like, great, excellent. I had no idea. And I was like, yeah, we're massive fans.
Let's talk about the tour, which starts tonight.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So who is going to be there? You've got Whitney Rose from
Yep.
Salt Lake City Housewives. You've got Teresa Giudice from
New
New Jersey Housewives. Who else is going to be there?
So this has never been done before. So it's like my two worlds colliding. It's reality TV like Housewives and RuPaul's Drag Race coming together.
I feel like that's so on brand for Whitney.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She has said in the show, she's like, massive drag queen fan. She's been
Yeah.
to Trixie's motel.
Yeah.
Like she's very,
She's friends with Trixie.
Yeah. And they've had like, they had drag dress up nights and stuff
Yes.
like that. And so what we're doing is it's going to kind of be like a bit of kind of like Watch What Happens Live with the Q&A side of it with the
Yes.
Housewives and the drag queens.
Okay.
With the drag queens, we've got Eureka. We've also got Lux Noir London. We have Laganja, who's like just iconic and hilarious. Like in our group chat, she's so funny. And then we have Ashley Madison from Drag Race Down Under.
Oh, nice.
And so there's going to be these Q&As about their time on reality TV, and like we've got questions coming in from the crowd that they can submit and stuff
Nice.
like that.
It's kind of like a mini BravoCon.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
but
'cause
then
I
we've
saw
got
Jack
lip syncs.
Vidgen is
Yeah,
singing
we've
as
got guest
well.
performers. We've got
Yeah.
Jack Vidgen, Greg Gould. Like it's going to be crazy. We've got other drag queens like Coco Jumbo is coming in Sydney, and not only are we going to have the Q&A and the fun, but then we've got the drag performances and the lip syncs
Nice. Love
and
that.
like all of that in between. We're going through like how tonight's show is going to roll out, and it's just, I was just like squealing and clutching my pearls because it's just going to be essentially hilarious, laughing, wowing, costume changes. Like even I've got costume changes. Like it's just,
cool.
the whole thing is like such a spectacular.
But also meet and greet, slay.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's just fun because the thing is too, like I did a bit of press with Eureka when she got to the country, and so I obviously like spent the morning with her, and everyone that comes up to her is just so excited to meet her, and it's so nice to be around that and be around people. Like it would be like us meeting, our favorite housewives. Like
Yeah.
you just pumped to see them.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to see people have, and people like Eureka are so conscious of having a really good exchange with people. And they do it over and over and over and over. Like
Yeah.
it's just like people come up and they're like, hey, can I have a photo? And she's always like lovely, asks them how they are, like has a little conversation with them. It's laughing, it's hugs, it's photos, it's video. Yeah, you want a video? No problem. Like, and that is really like, you just can't wipe the smile off your face when
Yeah,
you're
it's a
standing
really
around
fun
them.
experience.
Yeah, it's
then.
really fun.
Oh, well,
And
that's
this tour
very
is gonna be
exciting. Well,
crazy.
I will put link to tickets in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
So then people can come like see you
Yeah.
as well. Very exciting.
We want to know where to go too. Like, where are we taking these girls afterwards? Like, like we want
Oh,
to.
every cap city, because it's not just cap cities. You got the you got Port Macquarie
we
tonight.
start Port Macquarie tonight, and then we've got like we're going to Penrith. We've got one at the Enmore in Sydney, Canberra, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Melbourne.
Many
like,
opts for the bars to come forward and host everyone.
Absolutely.
I
We're at the
can
VIP
hear
area.
Ronnie from Noir putting his hand up in Sydney.
I bet.
I wanted to put you on the spot a little bit because I don't know if I told you, but your most rogue moment.
Oh, like in a celebrity interview?
It can be anything, like your own rogue moment, or it can
Oh, I've got
be
a good one.
work rogue moment.
I got slapped on the ass by Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Essay.
No,
Wait, I can't say
consented.
that. I literally just got a cease and desist for saying that.
No,
Sorry.
no. I
Allegedly.
consented to it. Like,
I'd consent to it.
hilarious. He's like, that's why I find the gay rumors about him so interesting, because I definitely get a gay vibe from him, but like,
Really?
yeah, but like not in like a negative
it.
kind of way, but
That's
like,
annoying for me because I would love to kiss him.
but I also think that possibly he might like boys and girls,
Fair enough.
which is also fine.
There's enough for other of us to go around then.
But it's kind of like Mauricio. Like I was kind of like, I feel like maybe, there's
Right.
just some kind of energy
See,
about
I
these
see
men.
Mo comes from like a sales POV.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Whereas like, Hugh, what are you doing?
Yeah, but we were playing a game on a red carpet where, I don't know why, we had like table tennis.
So this is in front of media.
Yeah, 100%. Like a whole thing's filmed.
Interesting.
And so we were like, I'm doing this thing with these table tennis bats, and then all of a sudden he said something about slapping me on the bum and then just cracked me on the ass with it. And I was like, oh my God. It's in my show reel. Like, I was like,
Oh,
proudest
perfect.
moment ever.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
love it. Like,
Okay.
hilarious.
I'm kind of, FOMO.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been there.
Yeah.
To watch and to participate. But like, I'd be the person being slapped.
Yeah, true.
Every guest gets a game. I have a game for you. So this one is just like having our 2 cents.
Yeah.
You know, I love to have my 2 cents
Sure.
on things. It's potential couples, like Aussie person and then with like a celebrity. So some of these people are actually like coupled up already in IRL.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Dream
so
coupling.
this is not dream coupling, but like, would it work?
Mm-hmm.
Abby Chatfield and Elon Musk.
No.
Why not?
Absolutely not.
Like 2 different spectrums?
No, because the problem is that he is just so controversial, and I don't think she could find any redeeming qualities in him to bang him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and also too, if you meet Adam, her boyfriend at the moment, like she has just won the lottery.
Yeah,
with
they
him.
are like perfect couple.
Oh my God, like Australian royalty. I know Abby, and she would just, I think she would rather put hot pins in her eyes than be with Elon Musk.
Well, what I was going to say was like, my thing is, I don't think she would be able to converse with him because he would not have open mind.
No. And I also feel like Elon would be the kind of person that talks in chaos and confusion. So I feel like it would be very difficult to get a straight conversation out of him without some kind of manipulation of the conversation.
Okay, that's our 2 cents on that. This is a bit random, but I feel like I can see the vision. Martha from Maths and
Jock?
Kanye.
Oh, what?
What?
What are you saying to me
And
from over
Kanye,
there?
because you know how like his current partner, like she's Bianca, is it?
Sensori.
She's a bit random.
Would it
But you
work?
have to also pretend that Martha is not a mother and a married woman.
But also too, I think, so here's the thing. I think in relationships you have like an alpha, and I think
2
Kanye
alphas
is
would
the
clash.
alpha, and I
Yeah.
think Martha is the alpha
Yes.
as well. And I don't think that
Wouldn't
would work.
Yeah.
I
understand that.
Yeah, you just can't see 2 alphas working together.
No, yeah, okay, I get
If
that.
anything, you know what I would love to see is for her to own Kanye and be like, you wear the naked outfit, you wear
Yes.
the candy bikini.
They've
and
gone
see
to
him
rehab together though.
wild.
Maybe they could do an Uno reverse in there. You never know.
Possibly.
You never know. Well, now that Tammy Hembrow is single again, I'm thinking Tammy Hembrow and Michael Clark, the cricket player. He's like an older, mature. He's been through a bit of like shitty
Very
relationships.
nice guy too, in real life. I remember us training with him at the gym once.
She could be a wag.
She could be a wag.
Well, she did try be a wag with Matt Paul, but I don't think he was in the right headspace to be, you know, partner Reno.
And also too, I feel like they have like just a touch of alpha each. I don't think that they're too.
Yeah, I
like,
think
both
they
of
could
them
be
are
soft
overbearing.
towards one another.
What do you think happened there
With Michael or Tammy?
with Tammy?
Tammy, well, I've met Matt whilst they were together at an event, and he unsolicitedly was like, you don't need to rush into a relationship as a mother. You can, you just, the right person will come. I just remember looking up at him and I was like, I didn't fucking ask.
Did you just
broski.
like reach down and pull out the red flag and be like,
Yeah, but I was just like, why is he telling me this? And like, why is he, they've been together for like a month and you're trying to be like philosophical on relationships.
God. You could have probably saved her a lot of heartache by telling her about that.
She was standing there.
Oh, right,
She had love
okay.
goggles on.
Oh my God,
Because
what the hell?
her sisters came on on his podcast, I think it was, and it was like Emily was like, you need to prove like marriage is serious and like it's a serious thing, and I think you need to understand that. And he goes like, I'll prove it wrong or something like that. This is me quoting it very loosely.
Wow.
But when that came out, I was like, I'm sorry, but for her to have to say that in front of media or in front of the public is like, there is something going on. Like, obviously he's being slippery. Yeah, I think he saw an opportunity like, oh, mummy Milky, I got some money, you know?
Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do feel bad for her. Like, I genuinely feel bad because like, it's not embarrassing, but I know how she would feel. Like, she just got married.
And it's just never fun because, like, you know, if your private life is so public and then your wedding is so public.
Yeah,
like,
but also for her kids, like, I'm sure she would just feel like head fuck. But like, petition for Reese and Tammy to squash their beef and get back together.
well, You never know. Like,
I'm manifesting.
yeah, we want that to go.
They were so hot together. Last one. This is super random. You might not even know. Brooke Blurton. She was on, and Bella Hadid.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think Bella is bi, but I just
I don't think so. But like,
whatever.
Yet,
like
she might be, and we just don't know about it.
Yeah.
You know what? I would love to see like just two fucking hot lesbians. Just again, like maybe that's where two alpha personalities work, when it's like two like power lesbians.
Yeah.
Like that would just be.
It makes
iconic.
sense for the scissoring, right?
I don't know any about that stuff because I'm strictly dickly, but like, it could work.
Yeah.
Two just stunningly beautiful people.
Yeah.
But also two being very normal. Like just
very
like
normal.
raising kids.
I think
and
would
like,
be they would be like Pamela Anderson. Like, I just want to like plant my flowers.
yeah.
You know?
Well, who's she dating at the moment? Bradley Cooper.
What?
Gigi Hadid.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not
Gigi
Brooke.
Hadid. Wait, I was
Did you say
talking about
Bella or
I
Gigi?
said Pamela Anderson, but I said Brooke and Bella.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you were talking
yeah.
about Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think we all get to that point in our life where we're like a former Pamela Anderson. We just want to like plant our flowers.
Yeah, I'm just ready
She's
for
got
that soon.
have you seen her reality show? It's literally
remember.
okay.
It's like
Such
the
a
2-episode one or
random.
something?
No, it's like it's had a couple of seasons now. It's like her
Oh.
in her like country house renovating it and like
I watched like This Is Pamela or whatever it was,
Yeah, no,
because
this
her
one's-
son is dating an Australian model,
yeah.
Lily Easton.
Yes, this one's more like her renovating this house that she bought and like just planting flowers. It's really random.
I feel
but
like
so
women in
good.
their 60s will eat that up.
For
Like,
sure.
oh, you
Like,
know
I
what?
remember
Maybe I
her.
should duck down to Flower Power and
Yeah,
get some
I
of
got a
those
boob job
seeds.
because of Pamela Anderson.
I do want a boob job because of Pamela Anderson. I don't know if you guys are watching this on YouTube or like Spotify right now,
YouTube.
but like it's getting pretty flat out here.
Boo.
Well, thank you so much for coming by the
My
studio.
pleasure.
Good luck tonight.
Thank
I
you
am
so
pumped. I
much.
like low key. If like there's any spare tickets to Sydney, I'll come.
100%. Just slide into my DMs. I'll sort you out.
Slay. All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to A Bit Rogue, where we uncover the stories of athletes, artists, and celebrities with their most rogue moments. Episodes dropping every Wednesday.